And a lot of the mechanics of the game, like for example, when the elevator is called, and all the enemies just run to see what's going on there. Yeah, and it's the same to do with the the player is it's actually a stealth game too, obviously, because you hide, and if you don't make enough noises, no one can hear you, no one goes here, and all the noise detection is based on that too.
Yeah.
But instead of the individual bugs all hearing separately, individually, the flow fields can do really low end pathfinding in the background, allowing me to get umpteen more million enemies on screen at once.
Yeah, I saw the picture that you sent earlier on. That was a lot of enemies there. I just literally, when I saw that picture, I heard the kamikazes from Serious Sam in my head just going because there's so many of them on screen. It's
so with a lot of that in mind, and the difficulties with procedural generation, why do you think that you chose to go with a roguelike? And I'm also kind of curious as to why you think that it's kind of a popular genre for like indie developers to go for. There's a lot of different people that go for that, like from 2D platformers to top-down RPGs and so on.
I might have some controversial takes on the whole matter, but I've just really enjoyed roguelikes in general, personally. And how would I say? It's you could easily do a non-roguelike based game, right?
Yeah.
And you could have a lot of these key features and still would not make a roguelike. All that.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is it's who your character starts as versus who your character turns into. And like if you have a random level in a random world and all that such, but your character stays the same, it's not a roguelike in that definition.
Yeah. I guess that's where we get into like roguelike, roguelite, and stuff like that.
I had to Google it today just to remind myself that there was a difference between the two of them.
Yeah.
It essentially doesn't need I'm really gonna butcher this one because saying it is suggest, but it doesn't need a save file or not.
Yeah.
A roguelike, you don't need a save file because it's always the same from the get-go. And a roguelite, you could actually progress and upgrade as you go through.
Now, light actually has like carried over progression. So like Hades, stuff like that, where like every time you end a run, you have like a currency or something, you get upgrades, and then you go into it again, which I think is for the most part the more popular way of doing things in that style of game, where you're progressive, basically normal video game style of upgrading and leveling up and then continuing to go, but you're just kind of you're still having to do it from beginning to end in a way.
Yeah, there are some downsides to that because you are forcing the player to fail the first few times, like guaranteed. And also the difficulty of the entire game as a whole goes down over time.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ways to avoid that.
Nice.
Right. So how do you tackle it with DROSS?
It's how I'm approaching it is it's not necessarily how well you are doing as a whole in the game or in your save file, in your progression throughout, is how you are currently doing.
Okay.
Like, for example, I would say if you were somehow, gifted in like umpteen million credits or a super powerful weapon, or you started to do this, that, the other thing, the game is optimistically future, going to adapt based on that. So if someone's picking up your character or fresh run or whatever, it's based on skill at the current given instance. Now that sounds very lofty, but I'm working towards that, if anything.
Yeah, nice.
I got you. So you kind of wanting the game itself to kind of change around the player as a dynamic. Actually, a good comparison point is Left 4 Dead. Actually, you were saying that you play a lot of Left 4 Dead and stuff, and that's a big thing in that. I forget what the director, because they did the same thing in Back 4 Blood, where depending on how well you're doing, your skill, type of weapons, and all these different aspects, choose like the type of enemies and all these different variables throughout your playstyle. So that's a pretty that's a pretty unique thing to go with a style like that and combine that with procedural generation in that style of game.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
So-
exactly what
It's
Blind's-
ambitious. I'll say that. Like it's definitely a very ambitious
It
take
is,
of doing
but-
it. It's
but-
cool though.
Speaking of your inspirations and stuff, how did you come up with like the storyline and the design for DROSS? Did you sit down and think, I'm going to make a science fiction game, it's going to be bug related, or was it all kind of organic and made up as you went along, as it developed?
Well, this is actually the sequel to the original game, which was
okay.
pretty bad. And my first game,
Admire your honesty.
and I have it on sale for $1 because I would not dare ask for anything more than that. But it's on Steam, and it's not made for the computer; it's made for the tablet.
Okay.
The
Is it?
iPad style.
Is it? What's the name of the original game? Same name? or-
It's Dereliction?
Oh right. So
yeah, you
Dereliction
definitely check it out.
2020. Yeah, so I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
now.
But
Yeah.
the years kept changing, so I changed the name to be the enemies game. And a lot of the the background story, the lore, all my hopes and dreams. I mean, that's where all that stuff came
Yeah.
from, right there.
Yeah.
But
When-
I didn't do it justice, and I really tried to branch out and do different things. I did many different prototypes and whatnot, but I went back to this because it deserves it.
Yeah. At least you're able to learn upon the things that you did before, and then you can kind of fulfill your ambition, really. Because I think many creators, and my colleagues obviously will identify as well as YouTubers, is that when you create something, a lot of the times you do kind of look at it and you don't see what it is, you see what you hoped it would have been. And then reality kind of, pulls you down, and you have to kind of make compromises sometimes. So being given that second chance to say, actually, you know what, I'm going to go do what it is that I set out to do originally. That's amiable to be able to do that. What?
Well,
Why
I'm
don't
very
we-
fortunate to be able to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
We
So,
first.
so how much of that original idea of Dereliction? Is there any ideas or any gameplay related stuff or anything like that carried over?
Well, I sent a link. The original game is like an RTS,
Yeah.
but more like what's the word? I wouldn't even know how to call it.
Yeah, I found it on
Think,
Steam.
Live action XCOM.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
You
So
can
So it's
pause the
turn
game.
based.
It is not. It's not turn based, but it is. It's a pause function. It's
Okay.
live, and
I got
you control all your dudes, and you run around, and it's got the flow fields for the AI navigation. The levels are not
Yeah.
procedurally generated, and this is why I, from the get go, like no more handcrafted levels. There was no.
I've seen
But
this
you can
before.
see the dross are there. I was able to really push the limits of the hardware at the time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Mind you, this is on for tablet.
Yeah.
Old
Yes.
tablet.
I've come across this game before. I don't know where, I don't know when, but I'm looking at it and I'm getting deja vu. I know that I've seen this game.
I feel sorry for you. He says, "Damn.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
This was me learning how to do all this such, and I mean, I had to learn everything,
Yeah.
like self-taught.
You're a self-taught developer.
Yeah, all code, art,
Oh wow.
sound, everything is just handmade.
Well done.
I don't really pay attention to. I mean, I just heard recently you can just go and buy assets of people who just made this thing and it just works. It's like, well shit, I've been doing something wrong for so long. I mean, my goodness.
Why don't we split things up a little and make things more interesting and bring in first of our feature, which is the rapid fire round.